Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Boots!
Yeah, you thought we was finishing.
We know you're watching. We can feel you. We know that you are afraid. Afraid of us. You're afraid of change. You're afraid of what happens when the Bahamian people find out that you've lied to them. I'm going to hang up this phone, and we are going to tell them everything. We are going to tell them who they are and what you took from them. Change is not coming. Change is here.
My fellow Bahamians, you have been lied to. You have been told that you are poor, that you have no wealth and no resources. You have been told that your natural resources are worth nothing. You've been told that even if you had natural resources that only the wealthy could afford to mine and process it. While you were struggling to survive, they were secretly shipping billions of tons of your natural resources out of the country. It's time to learn the truth. It's time to end this myth. There is a dangerous cohort called the oligarchs. They have been using your beloved politicians as puppets to do their bidding. To distract you with rallies, handouts and jobs while they ran off with your riches. So the question is, how do you get your resources out of the hands of the oligarchs and into the hands of the Bahamian people? It's easier than you think. Today, I have come as the bearer of good news. And that is that change is not coming, change is here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. First of all, let me apologize to you on behalf of all the Bahamian people for you having to sit through almost 1 hour of a dry, visionless, empty, hopeless speech by the Prime Minister of this country. Let me be the first to apologize to you on his behalf. That is 1 whole hour that I could never get back. That is an entire hour that is gone forever. And I regret sitting down and sitting through that 1 hour with no vision, no hope for this country. I decided to grab my books on economics, my Das Kapital book, Capital by Karl Marx, because it must be something missing. It must be the Prime Minister. I'm sure he has economists working with him, but I hear nothing. I decided to grab my Adam Smith's Wealth of Nation book, the book that formed capitalism, because I heard nothing about that gave me the feeling that Brave Davis or his advisors understand anything about economics and how the world works. And I had to go to the table of contents of this book while he was talking and see if this book that talks about capitalism actually talked about the division of labor in chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the principle which gives occasion to the division of labor in chapter 3, that the division of labor is limited by the extent of the market, in chapter 4 of the origin and use of money, he must not have read chapter 4. None of his advisors have ever read chapter 4 of the origin and the use of money. Chapter 5 of the real and nominal price of commodities or of their price. Chapter 6 of the component parts of the price of commodities. Chapter 7 of the natural and market price of commodities. Chapter 8 of the wages of labor. Somebody type 260. A whole chapter on the wages of labor. Chapter 9 of the profits of stock, of the wages of profits in the different employments of labor and stock. Chapter 11 of the produce of land, which always affords rent. Of the produce of land, which sometimes does and sometimes does not afford rent. I won't read all of these chapters to you, but I just want you to take the time and go and read this. And if you read this, Bahamians will want something different. It even talks about of the system of political economy in book 4. We need real educated persons with vision governing this country, not political puppets doing whatever the system tells them to do. I am disappointed and saddened by what I saw today. And it inspired me to work even harder at what we are doing. It inspired me to understand that the Bahamas is in trouble and that we need a rescue. And it's not coming from the government in power. At one point in his speech, all I heard was jobs, jobs, jobs. And that foul word, jobs, offended me. And it should offend every Bahamian because it's time to move to the new Bahamas where Bahamians are the owners. In the Prime Minister's speech tonight, I heard nothing on our natural resources. An issue to which they have dedicated an entire ministry. Nothing in 1 year on our natural resources. Not one word about our natural resources. Nothing on our Freedom of Information Act. The non-transparency continues. They are continuously saying they're doing this with this company, that with that company, but they won't tell you who the company is. They won't show you the documents and tell you what's going on. It is shameful. There was no updates on the results of their constant traveling. At one point, the Prime Minister talked about looking down from the airplane window. He literally had the nerve to talk about looking down from the airplane window. There was no vision for crime. None. Other than we're hiring more police officers. We always hire more police officers. There was no vision for immigration other than we're hiring more defense force officers and spending $6 million on boats. What is the point of having more officers when the officers are complaining of getting instructions to not touch the illegal immigrants? We'll touch on that later. No update on the promise-free electricity that this government promised before they came in. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister talked about things like climate change. He talked about the wealthiest countries using oil, gas, and coal and becoming very wealthy from it. Do you know what oil, gas, and coal is? It's natural resources. And the countries and their people became wealthy from it. But in our country, they never read this or this. They're saying that the sound is being messed with. The sound is choppy. Let's transfer the sound there. Let's producer. If you can get the sound from, and then if you can turn that down. Just mute the sound there. Okay, so the sound should be good. Let's test the sound again and make sure it's good. You can test the sound again and make sure it's good. All right, so, okay, someone says it's better. Okay, so we'll go from there and see how it is. Let me continue. Okay, someone says it's good. Okay, perfect. They said it's good. Awesome. Awesome. Good. And so I hope you heard some of what I said, but I'll continue by saying that the Prime Minister talked about the wealthiest countries in the world using oil, gas, and coal. These are natural resources. And this is what the Bahamas use. The Bahamas should use to take our country to the next level. But there's no conversation about this in the vision of this country. All right, I'm talking like this to make sure we got the sound together. All right, it's not together? Okay, again, make sure that it's in swing. And excuse me. Let's switch the sound to another device. Let's make that work. All right, messing up the sound again. All right, so unmute, and then we. Okay. All right, good. We got sound now. He said the sound is on mute. No, I can't sound. But what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna. Oh, they said they can't hear. Okay, they said they can't hear. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick. Bring them back up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick video break. I want you to see this video so that I can go into the Prime Minister's speech tonight. I want you to see this video first to get your mind in line. Like we come from this video, we get a comfort on the sound issues. Doing that we have to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present a video to you that shows you where we need to be and where our thinking needs to be. This video disturbs me every time I see it. It's a wonderful video. We'll be right back.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care. Look at your road system. Look at your highway system. Look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are at this point hoping that we have better sound on here. So please let me know if the sound is working for you. Please let me know. We'll only know if you let us know how you're receiving it over there. So let me just do a quick test on there also to see if the sound is good. We know there's a little delay, so you can't answer right away. All right. Oh yes, they said the sound is a little better. It's a little better. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Someone says it's not good. Okay, let me hear for myself, because we really got to talk tonight. We really got to talk. We just, someone says you platinum. So far so good. All right, let me hear for myself. Yeah. So let me just do a quick test on there also to see if the sound is good. Okay, sounds good to me. All right, if there's any problems, y'all please let me know. Y'all keep me aware so that we don't keep talking if the sound is bad, and we'll switch out devices and internet. All right. I have told you before that the government, national security, is able to do certain things as it relates to social media, and when we get in power, we're gonna change that. All right, we're gonna fix all of that. All right. All right, perfect. So let's continue. And you guys got to be my producer, and we got to get this right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I heard a speech again. I'm going to tell you what I said in the beginning, in case you couldn't hear me. We heard nothing on natural resources. We heard nothing on the Freedom of Information Act and transparency. We heard no update on the results from their constant traveling. The only result he gave was that he was looking down from the plane at the Bahamas as he was traveling. He literally said that. There's no solutions to crime. There is no immigration solutions. No update on the free electricity that was promised. They talked about climate change and the $4.2 billion from hurricanes, damages from hurricanes that happens as a result of climate change, they're saying. He said we have to borrow to rebuild. He literally said that he gets angry. He's angry at the hurricanes. If the hurricanes are so serious and devastating, why is it that we never prepare for them? Why is it that no government prepares for hurricanes? Where are our hurricane shelters a year in after such devastating loss of lives? Why is it that we are never prepared? Why don't we have storehouses with materials, with food, with extra medical supplies sitting there, waiting for hurricanes? But every so often, these supplies are sold and replenished so that they don't grow old in these storages. Why is there no vision to tackle the situation of hurricanes? Why has the Defense Force not been trained to use our ships to transport persons from one island to the next, even to Florida or the Gulf Coast if they have to in emergencies? How is this not happening? Why have we not invested in cruise ships that not only will give us money
from tourism, from people coming on our ships, but these ships can also be used to transport thousands of people from one island and house them during the hurricane. Because the ships are out to sea during the hurricanes, they are safe. Many ships, including defense warships, go out to sea to be safe during hurricanes. Why have we no vision? These are simple solutions that can save many lives. If it's so serious, why are we not investing in it? Why are we not investing in our natural resources so that we don't have to borrow $4.2 billion for hurricane damage? We'll get to that in a minute. The Prime Minister talked about carbon credits, an idea that myself and others have brought forth to the Bahamian people. But of course, it's an idea that they are pirating from us, but they have no idea how to use it. They're now repeating that they can get solar electricity, pay for it through carbon credits. Finally, they got to that after I kept repeating it, because initially they had no idea what to do. But they're talking about carbon credits, but there's no talk of Bahamians benefiting from our carbon credits. Bahamians, do not let them hoodwink and bamboozle you. Our carbon credits should not, the $33 trillion market they talk about, it should not just be used for government projects. It should be used so that we can end the conversations about minimum wage. Minimum wage should be for foreigners to work for us. We need a new Bahamas. We need a new thinking. The 1950s and 1960s thinking of these, this older generation is not going to work in this dispensation. It is time for something new and something different. I don't know about you, but I can't take much more of this. There's simple things that they can do if they have vision instead of complaining. They're talking about carbon credits, but they're entering the voluntary carbon credit market, not the mandatory market, which deals with cap and trade, which is regulated, which is respected around the world. I think they're doing it because the voluntary is not regulated, and they'll be able to get away with some things. They are paying a company 51% of what belongs to us, of our carbon credits, for what they can get for free. You can trade on the platforms for free. You don't have to give any company 51% of our carbon credits. They are robbing this country blind. Wake up, farmers. This is an opportunity for every Bahamian to benefit. But like Philip Davis told me before election, we cannot let the people benefit. He said, you give the money to a few and let them provide jobs to everyone else. He said he is old school. And he is fulfilling that to a T. We need to wake up. The fact of the matter is that all I heard is we are going to do this, we are going to do that, more promises, more talk, that we hear after every election. But the fact of the matter is, after 1 year, we should not still be talking about what we are going to do. We should have already been going in that direction. 5 years go fast. You see how fast 1 year went. If you have not started some of these things that you're talking about, when are we going to get to it? You should have come ready, Mr. Prime Minister. You were not ready, Mr. Prime Minister. He talked about the downgrade. And he talked about the downgrade as if the respected credit bureau was doing something wrong to us by downgrading us. This is concerning to me, the attitude that where our country is not doing right, we blame the others, the outside, and we say that there's some big bad wolf that is oppressing us. our credit rating because we do things like squander our resources. We spend millions on trips while the credit agency is watching us. We do nothing to change the fact that we can make more income. We don't make investments as a nation. We're really talking about our bad debt. Let me help our Prime Minister, since they don't seem to understand how we can get out of that problem. I'm going to give you another idea that I need you to put in place, because I don't need our country to be destroyed by the time the new Bahamas begins in 4 years or less. The debt of the nation does not have to cripple the nation. Look at what other countries like Dubai and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, etc., even Norway, that is investing in our country through Equinox and Statoil. What you do is you form private companies, not run by the government, run by the private sector, or founded by the government on behalf of the people. Allow the people to have shares in that company. And because you have a private company, you also put some of our resources into that private company, like Dubai did with Nakil, their company that they use to go into investments in tourism. Only less than 1% now of Dubai's GDP is from oil. And so the private company, with its collateral of some of your natural resources, will now be able to go on the market and get loans to do things that we can benefit from. So a tourism company, corporation like Nakil in Dubai, can now invest in cruise ships, invest in hotels, instead of going around the world looking to beg persons to invest. We've been sitting around for how many years waiting for, hoping and praying that someone comes and buys $100 million hotel. What is $100 million if we borrow $5-6 billion every term? We need to think differently. In Dubai, Atlantis went there to invest in Dubai, in Atlantis, Dubai, and they owned half, and the people of Dubai owned half. Do you see the difference in thinking? And so, yes, when we come in, the cup will be bare. We know that. When we come in, there will be serious debt burden, but there are ways around the debt burden. And so we will be able to move forward as a country. The government did this before, something similar, though it was more diabolical. They formed a private company called Resolve to Save Bank of the Bahamas. But it's like they have no vision to do other things to take us forward. We do not want government running corporations. We want them to be privately owned, privately run by the talented Bahamians from around the world. Now there's a chance for Bahamians from around the world to come home as we invest in things that take us to the next level. And so when we come in, the country's debt will be paid down, but it will not be a handcuff and a burden on us, because we're going to be able to come in and take action right away. You can, one, do what Dubai did. They used some of their oil. They had a small amount of oil compared to everyone else around them. They had a small amount of oil. They knew it was nothing. But they got a loan based on the value of their oil and used it to invest in many things. We can use our natural resources, our sand, our limestone, our other natural resources, and not only to borrow on the value of it after you've taken the value of it, but you can also take pre-orders. There are countries that need sand and aragonite. They need it, like Dubai, like Singapore, like China. They need sand to expand their land, to build, to do whatever it is that they want to do. You can take pre-orders, have a futures market that if you buy now this amount, you can get for this low price. You can immediately sell 20, 30, 40 billion dollars worth of natural resources at a discounted price to where you don't go into debt, but you use what you have. But these politicians have no vision for today's world. They don't even have vision from the past world. They don't study the markets. They are puppets who do as they are told, and they sit down and wait for an investor to come in and spend money and make us parasites. We are going to transform this nation. How is it that there was an opportunity to buy Morton Salt for $100 million? And when I say Morton Salt, I don't mean the plant in Inagua. I mean Morton Salt internationally, an American brand. We had a chance to control the salt market in the world, but not one politician thought to buy Morton Salt. If you borrow $5-6 billion that you spend on nothing, how could you not find a few $100 million that you sometimes borrow one time? How much time have you seen them say we're borrowing $500 million? How many times have you seen them say we're borrowing $1 billion? But they couldn't borrow for something that we can make money from. They are constantly borrowing to pay bills, and we keep voting for the same politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, we need change desperately. Our credit is being downgraded for a simple reason. There is no outlook for us increasing our income as a nation, our productivity as a nation. If your bills are more than your income, of course your credit is going to be bad. And so what you need to do is not tighten your belt, is find more ways to get more income. And that is what our nation should be doing. Our entire debt is now about $12 billion. That is nothing for some countries. We should be looking to increase our GDP, increase our income, not insulting the credit ratings companies because they have to downgrade us. Now, what you saw in the downgrade was you saw where they downgraded the nation, but then they took the outlook from negative to stable. The outlook is a hope for the future. It is not real. The downgrade deals with the present situation. So the downgrade is what counts. The outlook, that they move from negative to stable, can change every day. It softens the blow. What we need to do is find ingenious ways for the brilliant Bahamians from around the world to come home and take this country to the new Bahamas. That is it. They talk about climate change while we are still burning fossil fuel as a nation. And while persons from other countries are still allowed to cut down trees and make coal. And it doesn't bother them. There's no pride while we are burning bunker C fuel. He talked about Bahamian pride, but there is no pride. He talked about the concentration of wealth at the top, and he said few ladders for the poor to get there. Well, Philip Ray Davis, if we empower our Bahamians with our natural resources, we don't have this problem. Because every Bahamian owns our natural resources. It's just that they can't benefit from what they own. He talked about enduring progress being elusive. But it's because you put the roadblocks, and I mean put the roadblocks in place to stop Bahamians from getting from one level to the next. That's why they make it difficult to get a business license. That's why they don't want to empower us. The speech talking about their accomplishments was about one thing. All he could brag about was opening the country back. The country was in a state of emergency. The same thing that affected every country around the world, except the countries that benefit from their natural resources. Norway did not have the sting from the downturn in COVID. Neither did places like Qatar, Kuwait, Dubai, had a little bit of it because they deal with tourism. But the countries that benefit from their natural resources were not affected. In fact, Norway was able to use their sovereign wealth fund of more than $1 trillion. They traded it on the markets, and they made over $200 million, $250 billion, $250 billion they made, while our country was trying to get loans and trying to get assistance and trying to get help. They made free money by trading on the markets. We need vision, Bahamas. We need vision. All I heard was excuses, 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 minus COVID. We cannot brag to open an economy that was closed. You should brag if you take the economy back to a level that is superior to what it was when it closed. If you have not done that, then you have failed. All countries were opening at the same time. In fact, the countries that opened a little bit before us, but all countries were opening at the same time. So you cannot brag about that, about ending these COVID restrictions. All countries were doing so. We do not want to hear about that. You talk about your free tests, but these were free tests that the hotels didn't accept because their workers weren't able to use these free tests to work in the hotels. And you didn't pass a law to make them accept these free tests. Remember, you are the government. You talk about opening the straw market. The straw market is dead because the cruise ships, the market we should be in, are encouraging the persons of the cruise ships to leave money on the ship and not take them ashore because of the crime problem that you have no idea what to do about. And so the straw market workers are complaining that it's slow, and these people are not accepting. They're not walking with money. And some of them have now decided to take credit cards, which is difficult for them. But we need more vision. You talk about companies like Sandals and Club Med opening. Companies around the world are opening. You did nothing to open companies. You talk about the Carnival Port about to go into construction. That started under the Free National Movement. You talk about a world-class airport that's going to be built in Grand Bahama. Listen, we are 1 year in. We're not waiting for excuses. Something needs to be done. You talk about all of these developments are in the pipeline that will create jobs. We need a new leadership in this country. You cannot go to countries like Singapore, to Norway, etc., and campaign on jobs and brag about creating jobs. Jobs is not something that you brag about. And you didn't create the jobs. A company from outside of this company invests in the Bahamas and they created the job. So if Wendy's opens a new location at the Michael Road and hires 60 people, you did not do anything to create those jobs. You shouldn't brag about this job creation because you did nothing, unlike leaders of Dubai who are invested in making sure they invest, they empower their people. Let's stop bragging about jobs, about slavery for our people. Let's start talking about empowering our people. You talked about sports in paradise and medi-tourism. The sports in paradise we've had before. And it put no heads in beds like your carnival idea. You talk about paying for the res owed to Bahamian businesses. Why is it, government is continuous, I'm not blaming you for this. Why is it that Bahamian businesses are always owed? Why can't you pay our Bahamian people? Why should Bahamian businesses have to be owed? We have to change our thinking. You talked about settling things with the unions, promotions, etc. You talked about these new promises that were made to different unions. You always made promises about increments and other stuff. And after signing their industrial agreement, they have to spend the next few years fighting to get the money they was promised. We're not interested in promises anymore, and we're not interested in crumbs. We are interested in becoming owners. And so for all of our unions out there, signing an agreement is one thing, and it's awesome, and it's good to sign an agreement. But you know what the struggle always is, getting what you were promised. And how many of you would say, oh, we were owed increments for 7 years or 10 years, and we don't get it? That's what we want to see to our unions. You talk about major disruption in manufacturing and supply chain around the world, and that this caused a lot of the inflation that's going on. Again, we don't manufacture. We don't need to be making excuses. I know you're talking about importing, but instead of having a mindset of being consumers, we have to have a mindset of being producers. A mindset of giving the world what God gave to us, to give to them. God entrusted to us some natural resources that the world desperately needs. And all we have to do is provide it. They are recession proof. Because what do countries do when they go into recession? All governments decide to go into infrastructural projects to create jobs and to spur the economy. What do you need for infrastructural projects? Limestone, aragonite, sand, and other natural resources that we have. Our natural resources are recession proof because in a boom in the economy, there's more building and people need it from the private sector. And in a recession, governments invest. But our governments fail to go into the industries that we really need to go into. You talked about Russia causing the oil prices to go higher. That is not true. Oil prices have gone lower, and we have discussed that. They've gone from March from $80 a barrel to now, they went from $120 a barrel to last week they were down to $85 a barrel. And right now they're teetering between $85 and $90 a barrel. So oil prices have actually gone down. But we've not taken advantage of it. We should be taking advantage of that right now. You talked about food programs. You talked about feeding persons. In the new Bahamas, Bahamians will not be beggars. The day of the Bahamian beggar is over. We should not brag about Bahamians begging. We should not boast and brag about Bahamians coming on a line to get food stamps, to get a school bag, to get school supplies. There should be no political party bragging about this, when with the snap of a finger, we can change all of this. You talk about the carbon credits. We now know that the carbon credits is worth trillions. We now know that our natural resources are worth trillions. Why don't you do what is right for the Bahamian people? No more food programs. No politicians should be begging or putting their names on school bags, etc., to degrade our Bahamian people. We must now empower our Bahamian people. You talk about affordable housing. These houses are not affordable. You are using our crown land that we own and selling it back to us. But doing so to make your cronies wealthy. Making our back homes and other cronies wealthy from our crown land and selling us houses that are cheap and that are not worth what we're paying for them. We do not believe that you should pay more than $50,000 for the house and the land. It can't be done. You're building on a mass level. There's certain discounts that you can get. We believe that the houses you build should be net zero houses so that you can get carbon credits for the houses themselves. And the persons can get paid carbon credits for living in those houses, because the carbon credits will be traded on the market, and every month persons can get $1,500 to $2,000 just for living in one of these houses. So it should not be about whether the houses are affordable. They should be whether the houses are beneficial, as they will be in the New Bahamas. There's a small home repair program. We don't want to have to beg you to repair our homes. We want to be able to afford to repair our homes ourselves. Give us the one thing that you did not talk about in your speech. Give us our natural resources. You actually bragged about putting Wi-Fi on parks, but we could have put free Wi-Fi in every home and data on every phone. It is doable. We gave you the budget to do it. $100 million to subsidize free Wi-Fi in every home and free data on every phone. But of course, you don't want Bahamians to benefit from anything in this country. You talk about catastrophic healthcare fund to assist Bahamians. Healthcare should be free. Healthcare is a human right. It should be free. It is free in many countries around the world right now. Countries that use their natural resources. You actually bragged about 38 more items that will be added to price control for 6 months. We are tired of being beggars. We want to be the people who can go in the food store and buy what we want, not buy what we have to get because it's all we can afford. Price control needs to be for foreigners, to protect them, not to protect us. We need a new way of thinking in this country. You brag about a minimum wage that is gone now. It sounded like you said $260. And it's going to start next year for the private sector. $260 for Bahamians is nothing. When you raise the price of electricity, when you raise all of these taxes that you raise and put taxes on bread baskets, when you raise and put taxes on medicine, when you break the back of Bahamian people, raising our expenses, but only making us get a few more dollars. In the New Bahamas, we don't care about minimum wage because we're going to benefit from our natural resources. You talked about new and more inclusive economic goals, and this was a very well-crafted sentence you said, but you never said how. You said new and more inclusive economic goals, but there was no how are you going to do this. You talked about access to capital. We've been hearing that for a very long time. We don't need access to capital. We need access to our natural resources from our sovereign wealth fund. We need to benefit from our natural resources. We don't need to come begging to anyone anymore. It is ours, and we deserve it, and we will have it. You talked about working with the private sector to smash through glass ceilings. We have no idea what you are talking about. You're talking about some secret meetings you had with some people that you would not tell us who they are. You said the babies of all ages deserve help. No, they deserve our natural resources. They deserve our sovereign wealth fund to benefit from our natural resources. You bragged about repairing schools to get us back up. You had no vision for education. All you talked about, Mr. Prime Minister, was repairing schools for the most part. May I direct you to our website where you shop for ideas all the time and go to our plan for education and see a real evolutionary education plan that will actually take us from a D average to a B average. We will take the Bahamas there. There was one thing that disturbed me immensely, and that was when you talked about you were asking the private sector for certain things. You were begging the private sector for certain things. And one of the examples you gave was the Port Authority. You said that you went to the Port Authority because they make persons casual workers instead of permanent staff. And you begged them to start making people permanent staff. And you said they made some people permanent staff. Let me help you, Mr. Prime Minister. You are the government. You can make laws. You do not have to beg the Port Authority to do anything. You can pass a law in 1 or 2 days to compel them to do what is right. If you know that they are making people casual workers so that they can let them go and not have any future permanent obligation to them, you can pass a law to stop this today. But you can't because you're hypocrites, but because the government does the same thing, not just the private sector. But when you come to me and say that you have to beg the private sector to do something, it shows that you're really a puppet. You are not a leader. A leader with the laws in place to protect their people. Because some things the private sector does today, they can reverse tomorrow. We need change. You talked about the importance of becoming a center for cryptocurrency. You talked about how people are going to be trained to go into the cryptocurrency industry. The shameful part of this is Bahamians are not allowed to participate. While the young man who owns FDX, and we're glad for him, became a billionaire from trading cryptocurrency, a Bahamian, like your grandson, Philip Grave Davis, cannot trade legally in cryptocurrencies in this country and repatriate their monies without hassle. Bahamians are barred and blocked from participating in this market that is making billionaires around the world. But you would brag about another company that's going to use our land and our country and our economy to make more billions for themselves. Again, we're happy for anyone who's able to make billions for themselves. But how is it that you don't see the need to open up this market to Bahamians so that we can do the same thing? But what do you brag about? This foreign company is going to come here and make billions off of our jurisdiction. They left China when China cracked down on cryptocurrency and came here. Bahamians can't participate. Just like we can't participate in our #1 industry, the casino hotel. It is shameful. We need change. That will change on day after election. You talk about upgrading clinics and a $200 million hospital in Bahama. And you talk about the land and resources for a hospital in Nassau. These are things put in place, and the capital was obtained by the Free National Movement. Before you came in, the money was already there. The land was already there. To do just that. And so don't make this like something that your party came up with and your party is doing. We need a new hospital. We fully agree. But we don't need to politicize this. Let's build a state-of-the-art hospital on every single island and use certain islands as hub in the southern islands to justify the costing. What I want you to do, Bahamas, is not watch whether the hospitals are built, watch who gets the contracts. That's what you keep your eyes open for. We talked about protecting our borders by hiring 100 new defense force officers and $6 million on vessels. Again, what is the point of hiring new officers if they are being blocked in doing their jobs? You talk about a new radar in at the Coral Harbor base, satellite radar, etc. We've always had radars, but somehow these people keep slipping through. Our islands are being filled while you are doing nothing. And I want to pause right there to what I said to the Bain people about a week ago. When we went to the House of Assembly, I told everyone, listen, I'm told from inside the PLP that they feel that the Coalition of Independence is getting too much traction talking about this immigration issue. So they have to now do some sham raids, some fake raids. I told you about a week before it happened. If I knew, of course the illegal immigrants knew. And so I'm told by immigration officers on the ground that they picked up some people, but the majority of them were let go. These were people who just didn't have their ID on them, their work permit on them, etc. Or it was expired. And those people, they are arranging for those people who are expired to just renew and continue doing what they were doing. All those persons, they said they rounded up, are going to be let go. Because that was the plan from the beginning, to make it look like they did something. But they didn't tell you that they let most of them go. This is a sham. There are thousands and thousands of them that flooded into Abaco. So why is just a few of them, and the ones who will be able to show that they belong there later are the persons who are being taken in for questioning? It's a sham. It's a political trick because they feel that the Coalition of Independence was getting traction for dealing with this immigration by forcing their hand. But what it really means is that we actually are running this country because everything they're doing is in response to us. Everything they're doing is in response to us. You talk about being at the Summit of Americas and saying that they didn't sign on to what they were trying to force them to sign on to. What's the point of not signing on for political reasons? Because it was just ceremonial. There was nothing binding on any country. There was no actual agreement treaty that you were bound by. It was a ceremonial thing. And everyone who was participating knew it was ceremonial, binding. You cannot be bound by it. So for political reasons, some countries didn't actually sign a piece of paper, but they went home and actually started doing exactly what was discussed there. So what's the point of you not actually signing the paper, but coming home and changing your language by calling them illegal immigrants and starting to call them irregular immigrants? What's the point of opening our borders and letting our borders being flooded by them? And this is the trick, Bahamas. They ignore the illegal immigrants flooding this country for a year. They ignored them. While visas and permits were being sold. And when much of the people who had come in had bought their permits, etc., through the illegal market, then they went there to check to see who was straight. They knew exactly who was straight because they made them straight. That is what happened. After 1 year of doing nothing, while selling visas to these people, and then going in when they knew how many of them were already straight, and that nothing would really come out of it. You talked about the purchase of guns and guns being smuggled here. Clearly, this government has no idea how the guns are coming here. Guns are being sold officially to Haiti because there are security companies, government agencies that can buy the guns legally. This is the major part of it. They can buy the guns from Florida, take it to Haiti, and smuggle it wherever they want. That's the problem. But you don't want to accept that problem, so the guns will keep flooding into this country. You want to blame America because you say that people will buy their guns legally, license in their name, and then sell it and have it traceable to them. That's like doing a bank robbery in your own car. That is not the major way that it's happening. I'm not saying that it never happens, but that's not the major way the guns are going in. Guns are officially being sold by arms dealers legally, but going to countries that have slack gun control laws where they can sell them from. And if you close the borders right now, while the turmoil is going on, you can solve the gun problem. Illegal immigrants that came into Crooked Island was just an example of this. This happens every day. On that boat was lots of drugs. On that boat could have been lots of guns. What's to stop them from putting anything on that boat? Think about that. But the government is clueless and they don't know what to do. On the matter of crime, we should start crime from dealing with crime from the top. We need to hear a real resolution to what's happening with the Colby Davis matter and the alleged assault of a police officer. We heard that there's going to be some update, but guess what? We already know what the result is going to be. That nothing is going to happen to the politician because they're above the law. The commissioner said he's going to update the public. We know exactly what the update is going to be. There's a serious manpower problem in the Bahamas at the police stations. There's desperate manpower problems, yet they are sending police officers from the Bahamas to Turks and Caicos Island right now and justifying it with nonsense. We had some video clips to play for you. Because it's so late, I won't go into playing these video clips of the minister who says that there's a crime crisis and the commissioner of police who said there is no crime crisis. These people have clearly lost their minds. They are not in sync and they do not know how to govern this country. They have no solution to crime. The minister has now exclaimed that the problem is the parents. Minister, if the parents fail, it's a government job to step in and administer the discipline. The parents are responsible until up to the age of 18. Then the government has sole responsibility. Until 18, the parents and the government is responsible for discipline in the country. What are your solutions? We are hearing no solutions from them. We will give them the real crime fighting solutions because they have no solutions. I wanted to play a video for you, but we're out of time because the Prime Minister took so long with his speech where he was saying nothing. And I wanted to show you a video that talks about the industrial nations in the Caribbean, and they had the Bahamas at number 10. We got last place on the list. You have Haiti at number 5. All the industries that they're involved in. At number 5. Well, we are at number 10. Because we're not producing, we're parasites. We sit down, let someone build a hotel, and we work for them. This is about to change. We're going to build the hotels. We're going to build the hotels. BPL has responded to, they've responded to all of the controversies that have been going on around what has been happening with them. They said that Focal is not selling oil to BPL. They said that Shell Northwest is doing so. They did not say, they did not deny that they ever sold oil to BPL. They also did not deny the price of 50 cents a gallon. They didn't say what the price was. They did not deny the fact that they're owned by PLPs and FNMs. They simply said, right now, we are providing generation, as I said, to BPL, and they're selling generation to BPL. And they said, like I said, they're transporting oil for BPL. They said they're transporting oil, and this happens directly through, and this is where their words got extremely confusing. Now I'm going to show you this because this is very concerning to me. It seems like something isn't adding up somewhere. Let me show you this. BPL claimed that they don't sell, Focal claimed that they don't sell all the BPL, but what you're looking at here is an article. Sun Utilities. And so, yeah, maybe Focal isn't selling to them, but Sun Utilities is one of those companies, right? But I want you to keep looking. I want you to keep looking. Right here, it says Sun Utilities is a subsidiary of Focal. Focal supplies oil to BPL. What we need is the Freedom of Information Act. That's it, and that's all. We don't need you lying to us and telling us this or that. We need to see the receipts ourselves because there's corruption involved. There are known political persons behind these companies that are benefiting. And any first world country, persons would have gone to jail. We don't need you to tell us anything. We need to be able to request what it is we want to know, like in all civilized nations. But you won't give that to us because you are corrupt. The Haitians have reached a point where we have had enough. Their statement to me was cagey, disingenuous, and it was full with nonsense and lies. Their press release talked about, it admitted to transporting oil, it admitted to selling the energy. It says down here, we would like the public to understand that Sun Oil's agreement with BPL only provides for the transportation of fuel to BPL's Family Island sites, which I've been saying, but they never admitted until now. So it seems like they will never admit anything until you put their feet to the fire. To Family Island sites, which BPL procures directly through their arrangement with their fuel supplier, currently Shell North Americas. So you do the transportation, but you're saying that BPL arranges that through Shell not, but you're the one who's doing it. This seems to be a circle that we're going around in. All we need, Bahamas, is our Freedom of Information Act. Just give us our Freedom of Information Act. Notice the Prime Minister said nothing about the Freedom of Information Act that we so dearly need in this country to end the corruption. I am sick of them. They have no vision, and they are keeping us back and keeping us behind. Ladies and gentlemen, if we do not act now, that's going to be the end of us. I envision a new Bahamas where we will benefit, where we will create industries, where we will use vision to take us forward to the next Bahamas. I envision a Bahamas where Bahamians are not the beggars, where Bahamians are not treated with crumbs, with disdain, where no one campaigns on jobs, where campaigning on jobs will get you insulted and will make you an outcast in this country. I want to open the phone line if you can get me the phone lines. We have the phone available. I'm going to open the phone lines for you because I want to hear from you on what you thought about what the Prime Minister had to say. It was 10:16. We've done about an hour and 17. We're going to do about an hour 30 tonight. And so for the next few minutes, I want to hear from you. I was disturbed, and I tried to cover most of what he had to say. I was disappointed. The question is, were you? We need change. And so, yes. All right, so we're going to go live into the phone lines. We're going to allow you to speak. And if you want actual solutions for anything he talked about, I am here and I'm willing to give you real solutions on any of those stuff. We can answer the real questions on it. So the calling line is open. Make sure, and so it's right there. 804-4264. Come on, talk to me. 804-4264. 804-4264. So the next few months for us is going to be about vision casting and putting the vision for the new Bahamas out there to Bahamian people. The government something to go there and do, because they don't seem to have any vision. We're sorely disappointed. The line is open. You can call the regular line or you can call on WhatsApp. 804-4264. That's 804 for COI. 804 for COI. Come on, come talk to me. Tell me what you feel. Tell me how you're feeling about what happened, what you heard from the Prime Minister tonight. Is that where you want to go with this? You want to go to the phone lines? Good afternoon, you're live. Thank you, man. Yes. Wow. Wow. Listen, turn your device down, whatever device you're listening to the internet on, you're getting feedback. Yes, I can hear you now. I heard you talk about the shanty towns. Let me tell you this. In the new Bahamas, there will be no shanty towns. We will have foreigners coming in to work for us, many of them. They're going to do the work, but they're going to live in apartment complexes that they will pay to live in, or their employer will pay for them to live in. And the money from those complexes will go to our sovereign wealth fund, and Bahamians will benefit from them, because the money will then be traded on the markets and multiplied, and on what the gains from the market is what will go to the Bahamian people. And so we're going to benefit from their presence here because there's many ways that we can benefit. So shanty towns are going to be dealt with, not in any humane way, but you see, these people who say that they're fighting, they're human rights activists, they're not fighting for these people, because if they were fighting, they wouldn't have them living in that squalor on our land. So moving forward, they're going to live on our land. We're going to build housing complexes so they can come and work and build our hotels and whatever industry we decide to go in. They're going to build them. They're going to build our bridges and our roads, etc. But they're going to live properly, and we're going to benefit from their presence. That's the difference. All right?
Another issue I have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building around that area, right?
Right.
I'm paying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to go through so much. I have to pay so much of money to be when my is going to be affected. The operators and the clients and on the utilities and all of this stuff. And the Asians are right on the next side of the road. They can be, my God, they just come there, just choke on whatever, and they just live there. You understand me? They just live there like a behemoth. I don't think that it's fair, like you say. No government power. I mean, I didn't know about it. And they ain't talking. I mean, years and years past, and they still on this plan.
Yeah. And so, listen, it doesn't matter what solutions they talk about, as long as we have the corruption that we have, where our work permits are being sold, where our visas are being sold, etc. Listen, immigration can then only go there, and they're going to meet someone with a work permit. They won't know if they got it legally or not, but they're going to meet someone with a new work permit, so there'll be nothing they can do. And so we need real change. Listen, we have laws in place to stop them from having their flea market on Cowboy Road, We have laws in place to stop them from building the way they're building. But as long as we have corrupt governments, like Philip Brave Davis government, like the Minnis government before him, like the Perry Christie government before him, and the Ingram government before him, as long as we have these corrupt governments, it doesn't matter what law you have in place. The laws right now are only to oppress Bahamians, and that is going to change in the New Bahamas. Thank you for your call, man. All right, you see the phone line is going off the hook, so you can call in now. 804-4264. Here we go. Good afternoon, you're live. Yes, you're live.
Yeah, what I want to say is, I did a slide with it this week. I say, because I just feel what things like watching on a merry-go-round.
Wow.
You all just everything, all of that. I'm thinking of version.
Yes.
I we did two jobs. I did 47, 48.
Wow.
I didn't keep on with the DP and that. I get no empowerment in this country to be in it. When I get this power to be here, I get power. So something really wrong with that system. I think I'll come talk with jobs and all the schools and go to work on something I'm doing every day. One medicine there, one thing I'm going to speak there, crime on the control and the mission of the crime, the control and all the deals. Right? Well, he's staying on the damn bed.
Wow.
Wow. I really, if this administration long, but that's a new, I should really bless it. Now, I said, guys, I don't think open that one level. Just the people there, but I don't see the VM of the double S going to what I can talk to them. But I look at I there with the COI right now. I go to COI last time, I go to COI again.
Thank you, man.
I live in this country, the Bahamas, the Coast, the States, and Dubai, and the Caribbean, with all the doctors and that we got here.
Yeah. All right, thank you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I'll just let you know, we are not going to allow them to steal the election this time that they did last time. They stole the election. This time we're going to need soldiers to come forward and guard our ballot boxes and make sure that they can't steal the election. We're ready this time. 804-4264 is the number. 804-4264, that's the number to call in. I'm sorely disappointed with what I heard, but I'm not surprised. Someone said the phone call is choppy. We're so sorry about that. Said the phones are not clear. So sorry about that. So with that, then, since the phone is not coming in clear, we'll end up there for the night. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a proud Bahamian. I am not attached to anyone else. I am not loyal to anyone else. I am a Bahamian. I eat conch salad. I love conch fritters. I long for bamboo shack when I come back from a long trip. In fact, I normally go from the airport to bamboo shack. I am a Bahamian. I go on the beach on holidays and I find a pine tree or a sea grape tree to lay under. I am a Bahamian. I love my country. I have been to most countries around the world, and none I love more than this one. Our country is in crisis. The Prime Minister started his speech by saying, our country is in crisis. But we heard no solutions to the crisis. No, not one. Just the same old, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. They had a lot of talk about agriculture. Bounty was a big agriculture talk. It was supposed to change the whole Bahamas and feed everybody and all the same big talks. They spent hundreds of millions on Bounty, 200 million. Yet the Haitians are in Andres growing more food than Bounty. Well, I'll take this next call. That works out. Good afternoon, you're live.
Resist that urge to the norm. Vote for the campaign, vote for the COI. Do not do the norm. Be abnormal. Vote for the them. Give them a chance to get this country back on track. Please. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Good night.
Thank you, man. Good night. I appreciate you. All right. So we need to stand up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have already produced. The bill that's going to save us as it relates to immigration, and so we're going to present in the House. And so we're looking at going to the House next week. We have attempted to call Michael Pintard. No answer. And so if someone knows Michael Pintard, tag him, call him, let him know to call me. My number has not changed. It's 803-5995. It's been the same since Alive has come up about. 803-5995 is my number. Tell Michael Pintard I'm trying to call him because he said that he would call me, but he never did. He would meet with me, we would discuss this bill. And now that we've released the bill to the Bahamian people for their comment, Michael Pintard doesn't seem to want to hear from me. I want you to see who is with us and who's against us. I want you to remember Michael Pintard, Vaughn Miller, all the members of the House of Assembly, if they fight against this bill to protect our people. The reason I draft these bills so they have no excuse. They can't say we're waiting for the Attorney General office to draft it. We don't know how to do bills. I drafted the bill. I did all the work and all the research. And so we're handing it to you. You've seen the bill. You know that it's a quality bill. You know that it will save our nation from us being overrun by illegal immigrants. And so we can make that change. I want you to watch the F&M. Them and the PLP are partners in crime. They are working together. to destroy this country. Every 5 years, whoever is the prime minister starts acting crazy or doing some crazy things like sticking up his middle finger or doing some crazy things to cause you to want to vote for the other side. That way, they keep the power to themselves. They keep the power swinging back and forth. They make you want to get rid of who is there so bad that you put the other party in. You were being tricked. They were working together. Like Ingram said, if I can't have it, Perry will have it. They've been passing it. Make sure that no one who's on the outside can get in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for change. They are going to fight us tooth and nail. They're going to try to find a way to discredit us over the next few years. But we're going to continue to expose them. Like I told you a couple of weeks ago, the attacks are going to start because there are some patriots working for us within the PLP who are giving us information. And they told us, well, they're going to start attacking you and Maria and saying all kind of stuff about y'all and bad-mouthing y'all and lying on y'all, but they can't find their makeup. And then I guess that didn't work, so now they're on to their next trick. Trying to see how they can create another party, another so-called third party. Put someone there who people might say, okay, we respect them, they're presidential, and then even give them some good candidates, tell them this and go in a party, we can fund you up. Give them some funding because they are afraid of this movement. They want puppets. They want to confuse the Bahamian people. But Bahamas reject them. It's time to stand up. It's time to stand up for who has been standing up for you. That's all our agenda is. We're going to empower the Bahamian people. Take power away from the Prime Minister and the members of Parliament. Give that power back to the people. Step aside. We're going to create a Bahamas that our children can return to. Create a vision that is real and doable. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for spending your evening with me. We've done an hour and a half tonight. We're going to bring that change. We're not standing down. If you want to assist us, you can go to our GoFundMe. You go to our GoFundMe. I guess we can put it up on our Coalition of Independence Facebook page, etc. The link, so persons can go there, or you can put it in the chat. Help fund the movement. We're bringing this change. We're not stopping. Eleuthera, we'll see you soon. Freeport, we're coming back to put our structure in place. Grand Bahama, I should say. Abaco, coming to put our structure in place. We must defend our land. Stand up with us and we stand up with you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are only going to win this if we win this together. You have to spread the word. The government has shut us down in the media. Their media is owned by the oligarchs and political prostitutes of the government and the system. And so they're trying to silence us in the media or twist whatever we do to give it a negative spin. And they're also affecting social media, as you can see. I want you to pay attention. Before election, everyone who was fighting against us or being used to fight against us, because that's all they were worried about. They weren't worried about that happening. The new minister was gone. Everyone who was fighting against us got rewarded by the Davis administration. Even persons who were not really PLPs. That's what's making PLPs so angry. People like Clint Watson, who was fighting against us, trying to discredit us, he was rewarded with a job. People like Chris, I forgot his name, it was his Curry, who used to work to the University of the Bahamas. Him and Naja Block set up this debate. The purpose of that debate was really to go at us. Naja Block was attacking us on our show on a regular basis. And she was rewarded as an ambassador. Chris got monuments. Other news reporters who would do little side stories got rewarded, got jobs. They were rewarded for fighting us. This is the system we live in. But oh, it's nothing like a people who are fed up. And it's nothing like an idea whose time has come. The new Bahamas is an idea whose time has come. And there's one thing you can't do to an idea. You cannot kill an idea. Time to stand up. It's time to stand up. We're going to defend our country with everything we have. All of our blood, sweat, and tears. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in. I apologize to you again for our Prime Minister. People are perishing in this country because there's no vision. Where there's no vision, people perish. We're going to spend the next few months giving you the vision for healthcare, a real vision for education, a real vision for crime. And we're going to culminate in what we call Vision 2030. It is coming. You've all seen Vision 2025. What is coming is Vision 2030. We're going to build it over the next few years, and you're going to see a vision with all of the solutions, the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how, of how we go from slavery to the new Bahamas. Finland took us into the wilderness, but we were there too long. It's time to cross over Jordan. Come with me, and we're going into the promised land. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And tomorrow is our Indian show. It's called Talk That. Make sure you're here tomorrow at 8 o'clock to Talk That. And we're going to try to continue over the next couple of days to get in touch with the opposition so that they can table this bill to save our country. And then we're going to put that bill in envelopes for each member of parliament. And we're going to go to the House of Assembly. Come with me. We're going to go to the House of Assembly, and we are going to deliver that. We're going to deliver it to the members of parliament. If we don't do this together, there's going to be nothing left for our children. Ladies and gentlemen, will you stand with me as we take this country into the Bahamas? They say it's 4 more years, but I believe in 2 years, the most.
I'm a Bahamian.
This government should have collapsed. I believe that in 2 years, the most, they should have given up and said, we don't know what to do. We need the real visionaries to take it from here. I don't know about you. I can't take much more of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with what has become my favorite song. My favorite song.
With my face turned to the sun.
It's time for the new Bahamas.
Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Paradigm. Early in the morning, before the sun begins. again to shine. We're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fit up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a brand new place. We're going to prepare a place for you, and it is the New Bahamas. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, see you next time.